And there we are. That is another exit done on a Hollyoaks. Cindy and Tom have officially left. And it's a really sad one, honestly. I was kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting it to... Obviously, I didn't cry because, I don't know, I've not really been very emotional lately. I've had all my shit together for once. It is a sad exit, alright, because suddenly Dave is found out to be Blue, which is still funny because Blue was hidden for the last fucking 30 years. No one's knew who it is. But Tom figures it out in about 2 seconds, which is fun. And they figured out that he's Blue and they are at risk, and he pulls out a gun on them, so they decide it's time to leave. So they very quickly wrap away and head to Spain to be with Jude. Do I know who the fuck Jude is? No, absolutely not. And I think this is a big crux of the reason why people are probably quite upset with all of these exits. Simply because fucking it's so half-cooked. It's unbelievable. I get that they didn't have enough time and they needed to really try and make it all both believable, yet they're still trying to have to shift out. Like, it's like trying to make space for more boxes whilst there's already a bunch of shit on the floor. It's like, well, fuck, I guess I gotta start piling this shit up. So none of it's really structurally intact. None of it's really got all of the stuff it needs, but it's just there because it has to be. And that's a shame. But I don't entirely blame Hollyoaks for it. I still think they have been, you know, they've cut off their nose to spite their face. Channel 4 has decided, fuck you, deal with it, or get the fuck off our programming. And I wasn't expecting to kind of, because, look, Cindy and Tom leaving is a big deal. Tom has been there for 21 years, which is fucking absurd. Cindy's been there on and off since, what, like 96, 97? So they are true both icons. And I think this exit, I feel like reminded everybody that Tom is actually quite an interesting character when he needs to be. It's just, in all the time that I've watched Hollyoaks, Tom has been the damp fucking wet wipe who doesn't do anything. But then again, in my time at Hollyoaks, I witnessed Tom with Yaz, which was shit. Obviously him during the Sienna storyline was pretty big and it was pretty important. But like, this is what they could have done with a character. And I wasn't expecting Tom to leave because as much as they are axing a shit ton of people, you kind of expect most of the originals to stay. But even most of the originals, I say original, you know, even most of these sorts of characters, even they're kind of waning away, right? Like, feels like there's a genuine chance that Jack dies. Like, I don't know, man. It's I can understand why everybody's starting to lose a bit of faith with how the exits have been so far. And just to make another joke, I've been writing a document as to, it was initially started as to who I would keep versus who I'd axe, but it's eventually turned out to just be a list of everybody who's being axed, which is one of the first written pieces I've done on the channel. But I also have left it way too fucking late, so there's a chance that this gets released in about 2 months when it's already gone. Because timing is not my specialty. And I've only got a couple left to write. I need to write Tom's. I need to write. Who else do I need to write? I need to write one about Charlie. I need to write one about Leah. And I need one about JJ and Felix. And then fundamentally it should be done. But yeah, like, I do understand that. I do completely understand why people are starting to throw the towel in. Because you have this really incredible Frankie and JJ storyline. Then you surround it with... Oh, and I probably need to write one for James as well, because James is clearly dying. But... like, it's something else, man. I don't even know how... I couldn't even imagine in any way where you have like a... Even if Hollyoaks had like a year to plan this out, I still don't think they would have been able to do a good job because it's such a hard thing to do. You need to give somewhat realistic exits to a lot of these main important characters in a way to keep them in line and keep them a part of the show while giving there to be a reasonable exit. And some of these aren't reasonable exits. Some of these are fucking rough. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly they do. And I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I like Tom, I like Cindy. I think Cindy is important for Hollyoaks. I think she adds that bit of legacy that is important. But the main issue, I think, with Cindy, and it's kind of the main issue with Tom, it feels like this is the first time they've interacted in fucking years. Like, Cindy's family for the last couple of years has been not Curtis, that's Hilton. I forget who Cindy's kid is, I'll be real with you. But like, family was Luke, it was Ollie, they left, it was Grace and Zara. Zara left and Grace left. And before that, you had Sturk, who probably is the love of Cindy's life and was a fantastic character, and I'm still upset that he's dead. But you never have her and Tom be a family. Because they are, they're half siblings? They are, like, they're Cunninghams by name, but I think they're half siblings. But, like, Tom and Cindy, they barely had any scenes for the last couple of years. It's kind of absurd. And I think that's the biggest problem with Cindy, and that's probably what I'll address in my video. Cindy, I think Cindy was too versatile. I think Cindy is such a good actress and such a good character that they never felt the need to secure her position. Like, they never felt the need to introduce more family. Even when they did, let's say you bring in Alfie Nightingale, or he's gone. You just bring in some other kids, they're not here. So you just have Cindy and a young kid who isn't really, like, you know, is he getting any fucking storylines? Don't fucking think so. And it is sad that she's leaving, but it makes sense because they haven't invested in the character for years. She has the Jean Slater approach of storytelling, where once every couple of years she'll have a really big storyline, she'll knock it out the park, and then once that's done, she'll go back to limbo for now and then. That's how I generally describe this. I'd love to say that they do it differently, but it's just not something I believe they do. I like Cindy. I think her influence on Hollyoaks will be missed, especially with some of the characters. But, like, am I taking Cindy over Mercedes or Steve or Sienna or Darren and Nancy? I don't think so. Like, not even in question. The amount of storyline potential that a lot of these other characters bring. Would I take Cindy over Diane? Yes. Yes. And Tom. Like I said, I didn't grow up as a Hollyoaks fan. And I wish I did, because fuck me, I love Hollyoaks now. But I've only been watching Hollyoaks for 4 years now. I've only been watching it 4 years. I've watched 2015. I've watched bits of 2012. I try to catch up when I got the time, but I don't always have the time. So I've only seen Tom as the boring fucking adult, and not even his fun teenage years. And I obviously saw the Sienna and Tom stuff, but it's a wasted potential, isn't it? Tom could have been a genuine fucking interesting character. Like, you could make him more like Tony, you make him more like Darren in that sort of way, but like I said, he just never did. He was never put in that position to succeed. His relationships were always boring and not interesting, and you could tell that they were generally bored with the character. And I do genuinely believe that in a couple of years' time, Cindy and Tom will be back on the show, as long as the show actually fucking makes it. Because, you know, not to be a doomsayer, but, you know, they make it out this year, make it out next year. Do they make it out in the year afterwards? I don't know. You know, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they wrap it at that right time. Obviously, I don't want this to happen. But you got to imagine there's a very high chance that it does. And there we are. Like, they were two very sad exits, and I am sad that they're in a position that they have to go. But as a result, I'm not too worried about it. It was well done, and it was, well, I say well done. It was done in the best way that it could, considering it felt like it came like, oh, and you gotta leave. You're going to Spain with Jude. And that's all the time we have to develop this plot line. It's like, okay, great. And, you know, people may say I sip the Kool-Aid a bit much. And I do. I do genuinely always take what Hollyoaks tells me, and I kind of breathe it in. But, yeah. It's a weird one, honestly. I would love to say that they had more time to it. And it is criminal that Cindy, a character who's been there and is one of the more iconic Hollyoaks characters of all time, her exit is basically done on like a shoestring budget in terms of development. But it's not their fault, you know? It's not like they had since... when was the time jump even announced? When did Channel 4 drop the fucking act on everyone? Is the question. Because it feels like it was like February of this year. I'm just looking it up. When did they announce that it's over? Is Hollyoaks dying? March. They've had since March. They've had since March to fucking sort it out. And I don't blame them for struggling, because it's fucking... Okay, we need to have everybody leave, and it also needs to be in March, and you have till August. It's an envious position. Nobody wants to be in that position, and I feel bad for Hollyoaks. It's a shame that these characters that we've grown up with have indeed fell to the wayside, but at the end of the day, there's only so much they can do within the confines they've been given. I'd love to blame Hollyoaks' fault, but it is Channel 4. But yeah, what did you think about Cindy and Tom's exit? Are you sad that it's over, or are you happy that it happened? I do genuinely believe that in a couple years' time, if Hollyoaks paves the storm, there will be a return on the cards for Cindy and Tom as they begin to bolster the cast again and manage to actually get more funding. But with that said, I've been Ash from Watching Walford. This has been another Hollyoaks video. If you like the Hollyoaks, make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching the video. See you next time. Bye-bye.